Hello everyone, today is September 17th, 2025, and I want to go through this symbolism of the incident we had last week with Charlie, Kirk, and the assassination, and how that connects to all this symbolism that is kind of baked right into the campus here where it happened, and there's some other themes that are going on. The symbolism I was looking at and kind of found was kind of solidified yesterday. We had the death of Robert Redford, whose given name is Charles, right? He died in the same place as, same town, same area as Charlie did. And I had done a video many years ago with Robert Redford and about this movie, The Natural, right? It's a baseball movie, and I'll show you how that connects here in a second, but on the Google Earth here. But Robert Redford connected to, of course, the Charlie incident, Charles, given name of Robert Redford, the actor, and the baseball connection here. But first, I need to show you the Astronomical, what was going on in the sky the day of the assassination. And Bobby from the Casey Jones Astrology Channel had pointed some of this stuff out several days before it happened. But on 9/10/2025, it was the 606th Mercury anniversary of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so we just take a look about the time all this was going on the 10th. All these planets are in Leo, the lion, right? And in some news stories, they were calling Charlie, a lion. And all this stuff connects. There's nearly a Mercury-Sun conjunction. The official conjunction date was the 13th, but the magic square of the Sun sums to 666, and it was the 666th Mercury anniversary after the Lincoln assassination. And we have Venus in here as well. And we'll take a look at the math first here, but go take a look at the date to date, 4/14/1865 to 9/10/2025, 58588 divided by 87.969 Mercury year, and there's our 666, right? And of course, the 666, most well known as the number of the beast, right? The mark of the beast. And this is a huge theme in here. This beast and animal and monster theme was the initial theme that I was looking at, but it also tied into this other baseball and this other theme I was looking at as well. Okay, so we got that out of the way. The 666, the lion stuff was going on in the sky. The date to date for Mercury. Okay, so let's look at some of the correlations here that connect to the Venus. Okay, so Turning Point USA, right? That was founded by Charlie Kirk, and it was founded on June 5th, 2012. Now, you probably recognize this if you watch some of my previous videos. These are all the inferior Venus-Sun conjunction dates for the pentagram of Venus, and June 5th and 6th, right here, June 5th and 6th of 2012, the day that Turning Point was founded or formed, was a Venus-Sun inferior conjunction, right? We had a transit of Venus the day of the Turning Point. And also, of course, we're told that Charlie was very religious, believer in Jesus, and he just happened to have his 30th birthday coincided with the annular eclipse of October 14th, 2023, and that annular eclipse passed over Corpus Christi, Texas. So there's another, right, body of Christ. So there's another connection there with the astronomical alignments with Charlie. Birthday on a annular eclipse, formed his turning point on a Venus-Sun transit, and then, of course, all this stuff going on in the sky with Mercury, the Sun, the 666 connections to this here, and so all very interesting. This all coincided up on the 10th. Now let's go back to Google Earth here, and of course the reason I'm looking at this stuff is here, this campus, and it connects to a Charlie theme that I was looking at, and I immediately, when this happened, I looked at Utah Valley University, and I saw that their mascot was the Wolverines, right? And then after Robert Redford passed away yesterday, it kind of put it all together, and it made me think of this movie Red Dawn that starred Charlie Sheen, right? And their group, it was about, a fictional World War III scenario where Russia invades America, and this resistance, this bunch of teenagers here, they call themselves the Wolverines, okay? And one of the main characters was Charlie, right? Charlie Sheen. And he ended up dying in this movie, but the Wolverine thing caught my eye. And what else I made a connection with is Charlie Sheen would go on to play the Wild Thing in Major League, right? And that was a baseball movie. And of course, one of the Robert Redford's most famous movies was The Natural. And of course, the most famous scene is at the end when he hits the ball, the home run, right? He hits a homer and it hits the lights, right? And kind of like an eclipse, right? Hits the lights. Lights go out. And he died in Sundance, Utah. So there's a baseball connection here. And last night, Bobby from the Casey Jones Astrology Channel had texted me that the amphitheater, where the assassination took place, shaped like a home plate from a baseball diamond. So I thought, well, I'm just going to check this out here just for fun. They have the Wolverine symbol on the baseball field. So I drew a line through the home plate amphitheater, through the home plate of the baseball field, just to see where it would end up. Right, and it ended up at the Golden Gate Bridge. Right, and we just had Robert Redford, passed away in Sundance. The alchemical metal of the sun is gold, right? And it's the 666, and we have the 666 Mercury anniversary, so all this is connecting together. It almost points perfectly to the Golden Gate Bridge. This is over 600 miles here, a little over 600 miles, so I don't think this is any coincidence that it's this close. When you line up the two home plates, right? And it's connected to the natural, the home run, right? Baseball field. And I'll show you what else it's connected to, because there's this animal theme, right? There's an animal theme with the alleged assassin. This alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, supposedly had a trans partner that was a furry. He dressed up like an animal, right? We have this beast theme, right? Mark of the beast, number of the beast. The Wild Thing with Charlie Sheen. The Wolverine. Okay, he's connected to this animal theme, this trans partner. Okay, so let's look at the surname Kirk. Of course, this has been talked about by many other channels, but I had learned about this surname Kirk, or the word Kirk, many years ago from a channel called Sons of the Serpent, and he made the correlation between Kirk and Circe, Kirk, church, and Circe, and Circe is the Greek goddess of, she's a Greek sorcerer, if I can find her here. In Greek mythology, Circe is an enchantress, sometimes considered a goddess. Circe is described as the daughter of the sun god Helios and the Oceanid Perse. Circe was renowned for her vast knowledge of potions and herbs, through the use of these and magic wand and or staff, she would transform her enemies or those who offended her into animals, right? So she's known for transforming men or people into animals, right? And we have this animal theme, right, with the Wolverine, the Charlie, Red Dawn, and the trans partner of the alleged assassin. Okay? And back here. So Circe is known for changing men into animals, just like the trans partner. Okay, here it is again. She's depicted as the daughter of Helios, the sun god, right? And Robert Redford, he died in Sundance, right, in basically the same place as Charlie. Helios, Sundance, sun god. And then we have the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, all in Lion. In the Lion, Leo the Lion. Okay, so as I was watching the stuff going on the day of the assassination, later that evening, Trump put out a statement from the Oval Office about the assassination, and I knew, even before I watched it, that he was going to use either the term monster or animal or something like that. And in his little speech here, his address, right, he talked about the patriotic devotion and love of God, right? And of course, America, right? America's pastime is baseball. So that connects with this, right? The patriotic American game is, of course, baseball, right? America's pastime, right? And Kirk, or Charlie, he has this patriotic devotion and love of God. And Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country, right? He used the word monster. Now, if you don't know, monster, this is the Ballantyne's Law Dictionary. A monster is a plant or creature terribly deformed, a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. Okay, so a monster is a human being. Now this is going to connect into my own synchronicity with this, because I was working on some things in that day and leading up to the day of the assassination, but most people don't know that, in a law dictionary, that a human being is considered a monster or a lower animal. Okay, and there's another definition of a human being that has to do with this movie, The Natural, and Robert Redford. Okay, and I had been working on this, and this can be found in various places on the internet. You can put it together, and I'll give you a link or show you the website, but most people don't know that a human being is a made-up legal term, right? And it's actually, the term separates you from God, right? Okay, and we know that Charlie was, supposedly very close to God. So we'll go back here. This is what I was working on leading up to the assassination. I had typed this out, and all this information, like I said, is found in various places, but that which is lawful is of substance and essence, and is a creation of God. A lawful man is of substance or essence. Okay, legal is defined as the undoing of God's law. And down here, natural person means any human being who as such is a legal entity. And it goes on to define what a human being is here. A human of the form and characteristics of a man. Well, we need to define form. Form is the antithesis of substance, right? So human being has nothing to do with God. Human being is a creation, is a legal entity term created by man. right? Human, color, hue. And the same day that we had the Charlie assassination, there was a shooting in Evergreen, Colorado, right? And had Charlie continued his tour with Turning Point USA, his next stop was going to be Colorado, right? The color of man. There's such a thing as a color of law, right? Color of law isn't real law. It's like a color. It's a pseudo law, right? Color of man is a hue man. Hue is a color. Hue refers to a colored man. Okay? So a hue man is different than a man. Okay? A man is of God, a spiritual man is of God, and a human is a secular and is discerned or separated from God. And this has to do with, of course, you've all heard of legalese, right? Although man and person are synonymous in grammar, right? We use it every day, don't even think twice about it when we use the word person, but they have a different acceptation in law. So person is just legalese. When you're talking about law, it ropes you into or I should say it takes you out of God's law. It undoes God's law here. Okay, right? Romans 2:11, for there is no respect of persons with God. Right? If you look up person in the Bible, right, it basically there's all these verses that say you have to reject the person, right? And a person is a legal term. It's a legal entity. It's a legal fiction. Legal entities are a conception of man. They are known in legalese as legal fictions. Right? But the point here is all this symbolism on the day of this assassination points to this animal theme, right? Monster equals human being equals animal. Natural person equals human being equals legal fiction, right? And there was a shooting at Evergreen in Colorado. That was Charlie's next stop, but he didn't make it there, right? He never went to the color of man. Can understand what's going on here? He was very patriotic. He was, a Republican. The United States of America was founded as a republic under God. If you look at the Declaration of Independence, right, the founding document of the United States of America, right, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, right? In the course of human events, the people are separating themselves from human events, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Okay, so they're declaring in the Declaration of Independence, they're separating themselves from human events. And at this time, I'm sure that the word human had long been invented by the Vatican. I could go into a little bit of the history of that, but this word human had been around for several hundred years already, and human and people are two different things, and it goes on to delineate even more. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, but even in the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, right, the founding document of America, they're delineating and separating humans, people, and even further down to men, right? All men are created equal, right? People, like, there's nothing in the word human never shows up in the Bible. Person in the Bible is always frowned upon. Specifically, the word person or persons don't accept. God is no respecter of persons. Human is a person. It's a legal term. It was a legal term invented to justify slavery, basically, is what it comes down to. But the human being term was to be able to deny someone their inheritance, right? A monster hath no inheritable blood. It cannot be heir to any land. So this human being stuff, animal stuff, is prevalent here, and it's of course connected to this baseball stuff, the natural, right? Natural person, Charlie Sheen, Wild Thing, the furry. Yeah, it all came together really nicely. But yeah, I just want to show you that. Pretty crazy. And like I said, I was going through all this stuff, kind of writing this up for myself, making notes, and it's right there in the Declaration of Independence, right? Just funneling down to human, people, men, right? All different. Right? People are a group of men, and then men are different than human. Human. Two different things. According to the law, according to God's law. That's all I got for you. All that symbolism, pretty crazy how it all lined up. Again, another shout out to Bobby from Casey Jones Astrology. Several days before the event, he had this 666 Mercury connection nailed down. So, thanks for watching.